Yeah.
But the people that have been here and done that, we kind of realize, okay, this is the point where it's going to start to come up. It's going to take 6 to 8 to 10 to 18 to 24 months for us to really grasp what's happening. Maybe it happens quicker. Maybe mortgage rates come down a lot. Those are the unknowns that you can't control or predict. But we do know that it's going the other way. So prices are holding more firm than they were. Home sales are at a 30-year low. We're at the bottom.
Alrighty, folks. One of the things I love to do on this channel is bring you new faces with new stories. And you've probably seen this man all over Instagram, all over YouTube. He is very well known in the real estate space, and we are lucky to have him today. Ricky Carruth, man. How you doing, Ricky?
I'm excited, bro. Good to see you.
Hi, nice to see you as well. We've seen each other a bunch over the years, but I thought I would just do a status check. What are you seeing in the real estate market today, where we're at? Just give me a pulse that Ricky sees out there.
Oh, absolutely, man. I'm overly excited right now because I feel like the jobs report was the bottom. You know, when the markets move really slow. You know, once you've been through a couple of these cycles, you can see these things happening a mile away. It's super telegraphed, you know, and it was kind of like when rates shot up back in March of 22, they started increasing rates, and a lot of the let's just call it less experienced called for prices to crash and burn and everything else.
They did.
But I called for us as a nation to hit all-time new highs for home prices every year. I said, we're not going to have a year where we don't hit a new all-time high, and we haven't. And we just got Q2 results in. I mean, we saw the June results was an all-time high for June, the median price. We just saw the Q2 results today, which was an all-time high for home prices. So we'll continue to hit all-time highs. It doesn't mean that there's some markets that are down. 25% of markets are down right now, but they're down just a little bit after we've had 50 to 75% increases over the last 5 years. So homeowners are incredibly happy. Affordability is an issue. That's what's causing home sales to lag. But like I said, we hit bottom. What does that mean? It means that the tide is turned, and it's just going to slowly, gradually start to move in the other direction. I don't know that everybody's calling for feds to lower the rates in September. I'm not convinced that they will, just because they've been so conservative. And I think there's a chance they may stay firm, even with what happened with the revisions of May and June, or whatever those months were that were revised minus 250,000 jobs. But I think if they do reduce, it's going to be a quarter or something like that. And I don't know that that's necessarily going to affect mortgage rates necessarily. It may or may not. Well, you know, that's kind of yet to be seen. Is it kind of priced in? What's the temperature of the investors? You know, et cetera, et cetera. So we'll just kind of have to wait and see. But it doesn't matter what happens in September. The point is that the data and the market, you know, vibe is moving in the other direction, whether you want to believe it, whether you want to recognize it or not. And, you know, when it starts to move in the other direction, it looks like it's staying still. Yeah. But the people that have been here and done that, we kind of realize, okay, this is the point where it's going to start to come up. It's going to take 6 to 8 to 10 to 18 to 24 months for us to really grasp what's happening. Maybe it happens quicker. Maybe mortgage rates come down a lot. Those are the unknowns that you can't control or predict. But we do know that it's going the other way. So prices are holding more firm than they were. Home sales are at a 30-year low. We're at the bottom. Like it's going to come up from here, and I'm looking for a good 2026 in terms of home sales. A nice increase, not back to normal, but a nice increase. Yeah.
It's funny you bring that up, because you probably don't know this, but it was about a month ago, maybe even been 6 weeks ago. I called for the bottom in transactions to be August, so this month. So what I said at the time, and I did this with Lance Lambert from Resi Club, is we pulled up the chart, and I said September existing home sales will be up year on year, and it'll actually be up 2 years in a row, because 2024 or 23 was also pretty bad. It's funny you say we're at the bottom, because I couldn't agree more. I think we're going to have one more bad print. I think August is because, again, the deals had to be locked in July to show up and close in August. I think we got one more bad print for existing home sales, probably below 4 million annualized. But then, we slowly grind out of this. And to your point, it could take years to get back to normal. But the real estate market's been in a freaking depression. I don't know if you've been paying attention, but transactions are down about 50%. We've lost about 60% of the agents, it is estimated, which is going to be interesting, because if we are at the bottom and I'm right and you're right, the remaining agents, if they're still grinding and working, they're going to be eating at a Las Vegas buffet,
it's like
going forward.
Yeah, I mean, it's the classic. It's literally classic. Whenever we see a market crash, agents run for the hills, and then the ones that grind it out end up 10xing their business as the market rebounds. Happens every time. It's what happened to me back in 2008. I lost everything. I was homeless, sleeping in my car. I came back, and within a couple of years, I was making $1 million a year. And it was all because of what I did during the market downturn. It wasn't what I did after the market came back. It was all those years of, grinding for nothing, building my brand and building the business is where you really build that $1 million business. But no, this is a classic moment. And you say back to normal. I think we're going to have a new normal. I think we're going to have more than a 5 million a year existing home sales over the next decade. I think that we're going to have a new normal just because of the historic pent-up demand from trade-up sellers and first-time home buyers, and the sheer population growth. I mean, we've got more people, so and we have more product. We're still building. We're behind on product, as the stats show. I don't know how they pull that. I mean, it has to do a little bit, I guess, with family formations and this, that, and the other, but we're still behind, but regardless, we have still been building. So there is more product out there. There's a higher population. I think we're going to hit a new norm. So my, bolder prediction is that over this next 10-year period will be real estate agents specifically will make more money than they've ever made in history. And I don't know that we'll have another decade like this, because I don't know that we'll have another decade with this much pent up demand. And honestly, with where birth rates are, I don't know if the population starts to shrink over the next, 20, 30, 40 years, or what direction that's going in. But I think this next 10 years is going to be the best that we've ever seen in the housing market.
Yeah. And again, if you talk about being a real estate agent, I think there's a lot of truth in that. Because again, I think you're going to see the beginning of that decade period, the agents that are investing and doing the work like you did in 2008, going from living in your car to being $1 million producer, they're going to just claim market share.
Oh,
right. Yeah. And then that will bring people off the sidelines and all of that. So I think you're absolutely right. I think the transaction volume, I think it increases every year for the next decade. I just see a slow, going from that.
So the way I see it is I think we got 5 years of increases and it getting to somewhere over 5 million, and then kind of holding tight for the next 5 years. That's kind of the way I see it. I think we're going to shoot up over the next 5 years because of all the pent up demand. And I think we'll hold that for a little while. It'll be a new norm.
Yeah, I could see that. Again, I've been telling my audience, I think 26 will be better than 25. So if you say we do 4 million in 25, 26 should be 4.2, 4.25. Then 27 will be 4.4, and then it'll be 4.6. And then, it's not going to be a V-shaped recovery like the stock market, but it will be a steady increase. And if you're increasing, by 15 or 20% in a market with 60% less participants, everybody eats more. And that's what I think,
where are you getting the 60% stat?
I read something about mortgage brokers and real estate agents. Real estate agents is the hardest one to look at because of annual dues, but it is estimated that, I don't know, upwards of 40 to 60% of agents aren't active right now or haven't closed a deal in the last 12 months.
I did see the stat where 71% of agents didn't close the deal in 23 or 24, 24.
Crazy. 24 probably, yeah. Yeah, so then you just have to ask yourself how many of them are serious, and it's really fuzzy math for sure. But
such a
you have less competition. Yeah, exactly.
It's one class, it's one test, and you're in.
Yep.
Now you're running your own business.
Well, let's talk about investors, because obviously my channel is mainly investors. And what I'm trying to get most of my audience to realize, it's not true across the country. Like the Northeast is clearly an exception. But what I've been telling folks, like it or not, is we're in the best buyer's market I've seen in 12 years. Right? more inventory, less competition, and better odds of finding a motivated seller.
Mhm.
What do you think of that declaration?
Definitely the best we've seen in the last 5 years for sure, soon as COVID hit, it kinda went crazy, and then there's literally been no deals, you
Yeah,
know?
for sure.
Um, so yeah, definitely the best we've seen in a while, and again, I believe this is the bottom. It's not gonna shoot to the moon, so you got plenty of time right now to really kinda get out there and find some deals and find some motivated sellers, but right now, every day that goes by, it's slowly gonna we're gonna dig ourselves out of this hole. So I would
Right.
imagine, like, right now is getting close to probably one of the best times, but that's all relative to when someone actually needs to sell, of
Mm,
course.
correct.
Um, so yeah, like days on the market up, homes expiring off the market, sellers can't get what they want. So it just becomes a game of finding that diamond in the rough in terms of a seller who has to sell, right?
Mhm.
And cares more about selling the property than the price based on whatever their current situation is. And honestly, you got to beat the bushes pretty hard to find that because
True.
homeowners just, candidly speaking, just aren't in trouble. Um,
No, that is what makes this cycle very unique, is because we have generally speaking, owners are flush, right? They have low fixed shelter cost. They may want to sell, but they don't need to sell. Hence, we are seeing lots of delistings, kind of record delisting amounts. I think it was up
mhm.
40% or whatever.
Which kind
But
of
this
brings
is
to the point that a lot of the inventory out there is fake inventory. It's not even.
exactly,
Yeah, and
exactly.
okay, the article came out that there were 500,000 more sellers than buyers.
Yeah, Redfin,
Long
yep,
before
or
that
realtor,
article
yeah.
came out, right? That was about 30 days ago, 60 days
Yep,
ago. Long before that article came out, I said that most of the inventory out there is not even real because these
exactly,
sellers don't have to sell. They don't care if it sells, and they're asking way too much. And guess what? It's not going to sell because the
exactly.
sellers just aren't going to come down. And so, if you saw the last June, if you saw June's housing report and you actually paid attention to the inventory part of that report, you'll see inventory dropped.
Yes,
Everybody's talking about inventory, inventory, inventory. Well, yeah, it went up. It almost got back to pre-pandemic levels, but most of it's fake inventory. I would
exactly.
I would imagine more than half of it out there is not even real inventory. People who actually will sell, want to sell, etc. So
Yeah.
if you look at true inventory, we pretty much ain't. It's pretty much
Yeah,
zero. Like you ain't got no inventory out there.
that is such an important thing, and I've tried to communicate that over the years, because again, everybody's harping on inventory going up, and of course, everybody wants a housing crash, at least all the doomers do. And I'm like, "Guys, you don't understand the math, right? If you have a seller who wants to sell and they're stuck on 2022 prices and they don't need to sell,
Mhm.
only a couple of things are gonna happen. It's gonna either expire or they're gonna delist. It's not gonna sell with a $50,000 price delta, right?
Well,
Because they don't have to.
one of my best videos here lately was that I said homeowners have two choices right now. They can lower the price or keep the property.
Yeah, it's
And
not wrong.
it's not rocket science. And so obviously they're going to choose option B because they don't have to sell. Delinquencies are literally at historic levels.
Mm,
Foreclosures still aren't even back to pre-pandemic levels. You've got 70, 65, 70% of mortgages that have a 5% or less.
yeah, I saw
And,
that.
and, and honestly, that's only half the homes out there because the other half are owned free and
Free
clear.
and clear, yeah,
And
exactly.
half the ones that have a mortgage have a 50% equity stake in their
Yeah,
property
they
with
don't
home prices holding firm. It's not like they're losing that equity anytime soon. So yeah, I mean so you have to think relative in terms of investing of what market value actually is and what a deal actually is in today's market, to
yeah.
kind of determine what those deals might be. But you got to find you just need a motivated seller that has to sell and cares more about selling than price.
Yeah, and the only way to do that is activity. You gotta do the work, you gotta write offers, you gotta kiss a lot of
Mhm.
babies because they're out there. In every market, there's always
They
people
are
that
out
have to
there.
sell. You gotta do the work.
You know what? I love to buy foreclosures off the courthouse steps. I mean, that's
Sure.
just my thing. we've got a guy that watches, a lawyer. He tells us what's coming up. We decide what we want to buy, how much we want to buy it for. Two other guys, we go in and we flip them. So we do a lot of flips, but then we'll come across stuff I want to keep. And
Mhm.
like last week, a commercial building came up, 5,000 square foot building. And I was like, I'm keeping this one because this is what I want my portfolio to be. It's heavy single family now. But I'm transitioning that over the next year. I've got 3 that I'm gonna 1031 into commercial, just for next year, and then the year
Mhm.
after that. So over the next 2 to 3 years, I'm gonna transition most of my residential, single family, because I'm getting into I'm building a 46 unit apartment complex, and I'm looking
Mm.
for other complexes to buy. But this commercial building, I mean, like the replacement cost on it is around a million, maybe 1.1. I picked it up for 500.
Hmm.
It came with an extra lot. I can build another building. I mean, this was somebody that got in trouble, and I think we're going to start seeing some
Agreed.
of these commercial deals come through on the foreclosure side. But that's where I love to pick up my deals, because guess what? I don't have to beat the streets. I just kind of
Right.
sit tight. I let the foreclosures come through. I have a guy that goes and bids, and I pick up really great deals, and I don't have to worry about a whole lot,
Yeah.
So that's
It's
my
fun.
method.
Yeah, it's funny. I actually read that IG post from you. I'm like, this guy's a genius, because it's actually something I did, and I wrote about it in my book, One Rental at a Time. Is we survived the Great Recession because we had 8 houses in '06. We knew they were overpriced. We sold them all 1031, and we went from 8 to 80 units. And then the crash happened, and we were sitting pretty, right? Because rents went up and occupancy went up,
Mm,
and all
mhm.
good. And I'm like, dude, this Ricky guy's onto something. So when you say commercial, I just want to be very clear. Is that any type of commercial, or are you going to move to office only with the 1031s, or what are we thinking, Ricky?
Yeah, so I'm a small investor. It's just myself by myself, or I might have one partner with me. So like the development we're doing, I've got a 50-50 partner. This commercial building we got, I have a 50-50 partner. So I have a guy that I went to high school with, and he's now the number one agent in the area. I retired from sales as the number one agent in MLS, and he
Took
took
it.
the throne. So we've been
Nice.
best friends forever. So he owns a brokerage around here now, but he's a full-time agent, and I'm a full-time coach. And so we go 50-50 on some stuff. But my point is that I don't raise money. I don't,
Mhm.
buy out of my area. I'm a small
Yep.
investor. I'm just looking to build my portfolio to, let's just say, 100 million.
Yeah,
I mean, you can do that in your local market. You don't have to do all this crazy,
for sure.
expansion into other states and raising money and doing all these weird things. That's not
I like
weird
it.
things. Like, I
Yeah,
mean, I know people that are literally billionaires off of expanding and syndications and stuff of that nature. But Grant, he's a friend of mine. But for me, like I right now, that was the 6th commercial property that I have now in my portfolio, and I've got about 30-ish, single family doors.
nice.
And
Okay.
yeah, and the commercial deals, right? The commercial. So they're so 1, 2, 3, 4 of these are just single doors. They're just office
Big.
buildings,
Yeah.
right? Just retail. We have a financial advisor, we have a custom home builder, I have a title company, we have an AC company in one of them. And so they're just single
Yeah.
buildings. And then we have one that's a commercial duplex where it's 2 sides. So small, 1 to 2 unit. But what I'm looking
Simple.
at, I'm exploring a lot of different things with this, because I'm interested in strip centers, like small strip centers with 5,
Sure.
6, 7 units. I'm okay with stuff like that. And, I'll come into some really big money in a couple of years. And so I've been kind of doing a lot of research on these triple net leases with Dollar Generals and Walgreens and stuff like that
Yeah.
are very, very interesting to me, over the next couple of years as I have a couple windfalls. But right now, I just want to build it and really capitalize on the depreciation. That's my game,
Sure.
is for the real estate, is the depreciation.
Right.
Um, you
Cost
know, that
segregation, depreciation. Yeah.
that's the big play for me, because it eliminates my
Yep.
federal
I,
income taxes.
That
So now
doesn't
I can
suck.
take
Yeah.
so I can take that money and I can, buy more real estate.
Hmm.
Just continue to build a portfolio. So now the reason why the transition, a lot of people asked me about this, whenever I did that story. I mean, I had so many messages like, why are you switching from residential to commercial? And the thing is I'm not completely, because I'm going to stay in the multifamily game.
Hmm.
So I've still got the residential in my portfolio. However,
Sure.
I'm just not going to do it from a single family perspective or a duplex or a fourplex perspective. The reason being is because I manage all my properties myself.
Mm.
And the single families are, I mean, it's literally every day something going on with one of the residential properties that's just an absolute thorn. And with the commercial properties, literally never hear from them at all,
Really? Yeah.
ever.
Okay.
Never
Nice.
hear from them. If something goes wrong, they fix it.
Right.
They pay. I mean, we have one guy that's coming up on his third year. It's a 3-year lease, and he texts us. He sends me a message 6 months before the lease is up, talking about what are we going up to?
Right.
How
Yeah.
much more money can I pay you? That's the only time I hear from him is, I want to give you more money.
Yeah.
How much should I send?
There you
So
go. I
yeah,
love
the
that.
commercial deals just seem to be just so much more easier. And
Yeah.
um,
Once you get them full, I mean, that's the whole thing with commercial and office building. It's the lease up. And once that's done, tenant
and that's
improvements,
why I
things that
love these
incur.
smaller commercial deals.
Yeah.
They're easier to rent,
Sure.
in these bigger,
Yeah.
larger, deals.
I like it. Well, let's pick your brain as a coach, because I know you're very well known in the real estate industry, helping agents up their game, 10x their money. I guess I'll ask you about a what if today, right? Because we just talked about earlier today, we got a lot of sellers who have what I call wish pricing. You may call it different. But what do you tell an agent? Let's just say they're having a sit down, they're trying to get the listing, and the seller won't budge. And let's call it a $50,000 delta, right?
Mhm.
The seller thinks it's 2022, doesn't understand what's going on in 2025, and they just won't budge. Is it time to walk away from listings because you're just wasting your
Mhm.
time and your money?
No, not at all. You want to stack them because you don't know when the market's going to turn the other way. And you
Okay.
never want to let them expire either. You just want to keep them forever. And you
Okay.
just want to build that inventory in your name. Because again, you don't know when the market's going to turn and you don't know when that seller's going to wake up
Mm.
on the other side of the bed. I mean, I
Okay.
had so many deals in my career where we kind of overpriced it. It wasn't a market like this, it was a normal market. We kind of overpriced it, and you know, 4 or 5 weeks into the listing, the seller's like, let's get it down to whatever we need to get it down to get it
Yeah.
sold.
It changed.
Like, you
Yeah.
never know when things are
Okay.
going to happen. You want to have your name in as many hats as possible as an agent. I never spent a lot of money on listings. I paid for pictures, put it on MLS. I did all my marketing stuff. So, but which what's free marketing, email, word of mouth. I did some postcards. I didn't spend a whole lot of money, and that money was actually an investment, in my opinion, into my brand rather than the listing itself. If I do
Sure.
great pictures on a listing and it doesn't sell, that's okay, because people that saw the listing online saw Ricky does professional pictures. If I do postcards to the neighborhood, I'm following up with phone calls. I'm getting more listings off of that
Hmm.
listing, so I'm leveraging it. So I never saw it as a loss if the listing didn't sell. I know back in the day, in a normal market, you're going to sell about 70 or 80% of your listings. Let's just call it 75% of your listings. So you got
Okay.
25% that aren't going to sell anyway. In a normal market, right now, we're at 50-50, maybe a little worse right now with the way things are. So you got to get 2 listings for every 1 listing you want to sell. You know
Got
that
it.
going in, right? You know that going in, and you're using the listing even if it is a little over. But to take it back when you're talking to the seller, it's real simple. Do you care more about price or getting it sold? Right? I need to know that answer.
Right.
And that kind of tells me which way to go with it. But I really want to understand why they want to sell, right? What's going on in their life that's causing them to make the decision to sell this property? Because they didn't wake up one day and decide, I want to sell a property for no reason. Right? There's something going on in their life that has nothing to do with the actual transaction. And if I can tap into that and understand that to the core and try to help them map out the potential pitfalls and problems they're going to run into they can't visualize right now because they don't have the experience I have, then I can really bring them some value as far as like laying out the game plan, setting the expectations, and making sure they know what they're getting into. If you do that right, then it doesn't matter at that point. If they know going in the 50,000 over is going to yield them zero, and they're literally, their property is losing equity every day, little by little, right? Because that's what's happening right now. Even though the tide is turning the other way, you know, prices are still on the decline as we slowly get out of this. We haven't, in my opinion, we haven't hit the bottom of prices. It's let's just say we go down another 1% or something like that, right? Before we, in the markets that are even the markets that are still up, we're not going up as fast anymore.
Correct.
So, you're losing every day. So it comes back to the question, right? You got two options. You can reduce the price or keep the property. So I don't care what they do, Mike. It doesn't matter to me what a seller does or doesn't do, because my job is to get as many property owners to feel comfortable enough with me to tell me exactly what they want to do and why, so I can help them do it. Some are going to turn into deals. Some aren't. I don't have control over that, but I want to try to help as many people as possible. But yeah, having the right conversations and setting the right expectations is kind of the name of the game. We're now more than ever.
Love that. Love that. Well, one of the things that you're putting out there that I agree with, again, we kind of hit on it earlier, but I want to kind of close with this mindset, is a lot of agents have been struggling, right? Again, I think we said earlier, 71% of agents didn't do a deal in the last 12 months or something scary like that. But this is the time to kind of look to 10x your income going forward. What are you trying to communicate in your, social media? What do you want people to wake up to for the opportunity that is right in front of them? What's some, Ricky advice?
Well, number one, pay attention. Don't get caught up in the hype. Pay attention to what's happening. We have hit the bottom. It's not going to turn around tomorrow, but we have hit the bottom. So all you have to do is look back through history and realize that we are in the middle of the beginning stages of what I'm going to call one of the most violent market resurgence rebounds that we've ever seen, just because of the pent up demand that's sitting there. If you look at mortgage applications, mortgage application data, right? Every time we go down just a few basis points, we see a surge in mortgage applications, which hasn't necessarily translated into pending deals yet, but it just shows the amount of pent up demand. And not only pent up demand, but pent up demand from sellers, people who want to trade up, which means there's two deals there on the table, which gives us a little more inventory as well. There's just, I'm telling you, this is like, this is 2008 on steroids when it comes to the market rebounding in terms of opportunity for agents. We might not see, the data might not show, once it's all said and done, the data might not show like how amazing it actually is in terms of like buyers and sellers. But if we look at the data for agents when it's all said and done, we're going to see that the agents that actually stuck it out right now to expand their brands, talk to the most people, make sure they know who they are, what they do, and they're here to help, and make sure they never forget them, so that when the market rebounds, their business 10x's. Then there's never ever, this is the greatest opportunity, and it's just a springboard into, like I was saying, this next decade is going to be it's going to be the biggest, and I don't know that we'll have another decade like this. So I think agents right now that are pulling back, because it's funny to me right now, you got to do twice the work to basically hit the same numbers as a couple years ago.
That's
right?
fair. Yep.
So if you got to do twice the work to hit the same numbers, why would you do half the work you were doing? You do half the work, you're going to have a quarter of the results that you had. Right?
Great call. Yes.
And I mean, like you gotta go all in harder just to hit the same numbers, but it's not just to hit the same numbers. It's to build that foundation for the 10x coming up. And if you can't visualize this, I couldn't visualize it back when I lost everything in 08. I didn't build the right foundation. That's why I lost everything. But it only took me falling on my butt once to realize, okay, there's a foundation I need to build here that can actually propel me into the stratosphere of this industry if I do it right and I build it on people. So it's that you have to go all in right now, because when do you take advantage of a market shift? Right? When it's happening, after it's happening, before it's happening. Right? When do you take advantage? When's the most opportunistic time to take advantage of a market shift? Before it happens, preparing.
I couldn't agree more. Again, you communicate this so well, clearly an excellent coach, but I've been telling agents for a long time, it's coming. The bottom is here. You know, it's not going to be a V-shaped recovery, but you don't want it to be a V-shaped recovery. You want it to slowly grind because your competition has disappeared. Your competition is scared. Your competition is pulling back. So just go all in.
I had a comment on a video last week that I was talking about how we hit the bottom and we got like 6 to 18 months, something like that. It's really going to be rocking. And this guy was like, well, these agents are broke. They can't afford to wait 18 months, man. You know, you're not helping anybody here. And I was like, bro, number one, I got agents in my coaching program that are, I had 2 agents over the weekend tell me they had $100,000 month last month.
Nice.
But I said, bro, go in your MLS and count the list, the deals that are closing every single day.
Yeah, we're still doing 4 million, man. We're still doing 4 million. Yeah.
You don't have to wait. I'm not saying you have to wait till then and that nothing's going to happen until then. Look in your MLS at real data and base your decisions on reality versus the abstracted imaginary reality that you're living in where nothing's happening. Things are happening right now as we speak. Deals, people are at title companies right now closing deals.
Amen. Absolutely. Yeah. No, that's just the mindset you need to have. Again, the opportunity is there. I think if you're an investor on my channel, I think we're in the best buyer's market I've seen since 2013, certainly 2015. Ricky says the last 5 years, doesn't matter. It's the best one we've seen in a long time. I think real estate agents, you have taken it on the chin for 3 years. And the beating is over. The beating is over. It's about time for you to win. And same for mortgage brokers. I think, you know, you two have unfortunately felt the depression the most as rates shot up and transactions stopped or fell off a cliff. And your time's coming. So, Ricky, I appreciate all you do. Where can they find you, follow you, all that good stuff?
Oh, yeah. Thanks for having me, man. Just Instagram, YouTube's the best place. Just look me up, Ricky Carruth. Looking forward to connecting.
Awesome. Thanks, Ricky.
Yep.